How has NIL changed your world, Coach?
Pretty dramatically. I think for all of us in college football, and I don't think it's just NIL. I think there's been some pretty radical changes that have occurred in college football. You can talk about NIL. You can talk about the transfer portal. You can talk about conference realignment. We're in a changing times right now in the space that we operate in, and like an old boss of mine once told me, adapt or die. And there's a reason dinosaurs aren't here anymore, right? They couldn't adapt, and so we've got to continually adapt to the changing times. NIL is part of that. The transfer portal is part of that. Conference realignment is part of that, and we've got to make sure that we're doing our part as coaches to navigate through that. But never lose sight of our job is to make sure that we're putting our players in the best position to be successful. And so regardless of what they're doing off the field from an NIL perspective, regardless of what conference we're in, regardless of a guy might transfer, might not, we still got to coach them hard. We still got to put them in position to be successful.
Have you had a player, coach, come into your office or you into their living room and say, I've been offered this by one school for an NIL deal, you match it, I come to Texas? Has that happened yet to you?
Not so directly. I think people still are pretty tactful about things like that. But, you gotta read between the lines. It's like anything. You go through life, you got to have the ability to read the coverage, as I say. And if it looks like cover two and it smells like cover two, it's probably cover two. And so, now how are you going to react to those things? And I think at the end of the day, as we've been preaching and banging on, and we've been recruiting really good for the last 2 years, is we want people that want to be at the University of Texas because they love this place. They love our football program. They love the history and tradition. They love the education, the power of the degree. They love the city of Austin. Whenever I talk recruiting, NIL is on the back burner, because if you're coming here because of NIL, you're coming for the wrong reasons. Could it be something special here? We've got a great city. It's an up and coming city. The economy's tremendous. We've got a lot. The tech world is moving here. I mean, it's fantastic. But don't come play football at the University of Texas because of that. Come here because we've got a rich history and tradition. We've got a great stadium. We are going to the SEC. We've got a really good roster right now. The byproduct of that will be, maybe you'll get some NIL deals because we've got a great city to live in.
Well, but you've been around the pro game as well, Coach. It does seem like the college world is heading in that direction. It really does, just in terms of the amount of money, in terms of, Texas, Oklahoma going to the SEC. I'm sitting here in Los Angeles, another spot you used to coach in. This is Big Ten country now. It's crazy, but this is Big Ten country. Do you get that sense? Super conferences, sort of like an AFC and an NFC, is coming in college football?
I don't know. It's moving, and how far and how much we shift, I don't know. That one was, what you're talking about with SC and UCLA, having grown up in LA and having spent a lot of my career at USC, them being in the Big Ten is kind of, that one kind of shook me a little bit.
Yeah,
but
right.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much just change that's happening in college football right now. They all seem like the biggest issue. The transfer portal seems like a huge issue. NIL seems like a huge issue. Conference realignment seems like a huge issue. How far is all this stuff going to go? The TV contracts that now are getting signed, just got signed by the Big Ten, and kind of what's going to happen moving forward. These are massive issues going on. And I think, like we've been talking to our kids about, we got to focus on what's right in front of us right now. We can control the powers that be are going to make the necessary decisions. Then we got to adapt to them. And, obviously you mentioned in a couple of years, we'll be going to the SEC. And what does that look like? I don't know. What I do know is we're playing in the Big 12 right now. What I do know is SC and UCLA are still in the Pac-12 right now. So we got to focus on what we can control, and that's putting our best foot forward and our best team out there on the field this year.